Buckeye Talk back at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. Nathan Baird, Stephen Means, Andrew Gillis from cleveland.com. A lot of injured guys we were trying to get updates on today, and one that I asked about was Lathan Ransom, who kind of hobbled off the field at Wisconsin last Saturday. They carted him to the locker room, put him in a wheelchair, and then he came walking back out to the field. And it was very hard to kind of assess in that moment exactly how serious things were. It looked really, really bad, and then it looked like, oh, okay, maybe it's not so bad. And Ryan Day today still didn't have a real update, said that it's something that's going to be assessed throughout the week, and that they might have more information later on. It sounds like there may still be some discussion as to how severe it is, how much time he will miss. Andrew, do you think Ohio State, because of the versatility it has built this year, is in a position where it can weather at least a short-term, I think a long-term absence is a problem, whether it's against Michigan, whether it's a playoff, they need Lathan Ransom. Can it weather a short-term absence from Lathan Ransom?
I think so. Jim Knowles was asked today about kind of the exit ramp, if you will, kind of the emergency plan with safety, and that involves playing styles together with Hancock. Those two guys are going to play more on the field together. He mentioned that, and then you just kind of look at the corners that you have. Igbinosun, you have Burke. He mentioned that Jermaine Matthews is not going to be an option for the slot. So you've got versatility. You can move guys around. He was asked about Sonny Styles kind of playing a single high safety. He mentioned, look, against Wisconsin, that was a matchup that we liked. That was a matchup that gave us some things against an RPO look, and I think you can kind of map that out. And I agree with him. I think that when you have Sonny Styles on the field, you can do a lot of different things. And I think you're starting to see how they're using him in different ways. You're starting to see what they can do with him. And I think that really matters. So yeah, I think that they can absolutely manage this. The goal, we're doing this on Halloween. The goal should be Michigan, I think. I think that would be the hope. You want to have everybody back for that game because you can weather a storm against the Rutgers, Michigan State, and Minnesota. Against Michigan, I have some questions. So, if you can get healthy for Michigan, I think that would be the big gain at the end.
Stephen, what if it is long-term? Do they have the talent lurking here to pick up for someone like Lathan Ransom if they can't have him for some of the biggest games of the season?
Lathan Ransom is one of their best defensive players, but I don't know if I would rank him high in value just because of how good Jordan Hancock has been at nickel and what Sonny Styles is. And I think you're still fine. I think that's still a pretty good secondary. Now, I think the issue becomes Jahad Carter's also out with an injury, and so you're in a position where Ryan Day said this on his radio show. He mentioned 3 freshmen who need to be ready to play. Carnell Tate, who has been stepping in for Emeka Egbuka, sharing that wide receiver 3 position with Xavier Johnson. We've already seen Jermaine Matthews step in against Penn State when Denzel Burke went out. We saw Malik Hartford earlier this year step in when Josh Proctor went out. It didn't look good, but that was also week 2. Are you thinking that in week 8, 9, 10 at this point, maybe Malik Hartford's a little further along where he can have the type of impact we've seen Jermaine Matthews and Carnell Tate have this late in the season? So if Sonny Styles and Jordan Hancock are still healthy, I think the safeties are fine. It's fine. Lathan Ransom's a very good football player, and you would love to have him on the field. But if you don't have him, you're fine with what your options are. The questions are, you're now one bad hit, one alien abduction away from having a true freshman have to step up for you in another big moment. And we saw Carnell Tate excel, and we saw Jermaine Matthews excel. If that happens with Malik Hartford, can he excel in that same situation?
Yeah, Lathan Ransom is such an important piece of this defense from just the tone that he sets, I think. But the thing is, Sonny Styles at times has played with some of that same vibe. And I think it can translate to Bandit. He played there a lot in the spring. So if it is a few weeks that they have to get through, maybe without, and we're speculating at this point because again, Ryan Day didn't give us any specifics yet, but just the vibe that you got today was that it didn't sound like he thinks he's going to play this week, right? So I think it's going to have to be a couple of weeks that they mix and match here a little bit. I think it reinforces, and it's interesting that it's happening in Rutgers week when they're going back to New Jersey, where Davis and Igbinosun came from, and it reinforces how huge that pickup was in the offseason from the portal, because at the time we thought all along, well, they're just going to play, Burke and Hancock will be the starting outside corners, and maybe this guy can help, or maybe they'll just do it with the younger corners that they have. And then Igbinosun comes in and becomes a starter, and that his presence has allowed them to play Jordan Hancock at nickel the way they have and not hurt themselves at corner. And that becomes hugely important if they have to go without someone like Lathan Ransom for a while, and that it causes that sort of chain reaction that makes Jordan Hancock more of like a permanent nickel, at least for a few weeks. We're going to talk about that more on Buckeye Talk. Get it wherever you can find podcasts, and get the text 614-350-3315 as soon as we have more real news on Lathan Ransom. That's what will be coming first from cleveland.com.